Good morning. How you guys doing? It's Mike back with the thought of the day on July 11, 2025. First, I want to give honor and praise to the Elohim of Israel for giving me the strength and the wisdom to bring you this message. Then I like to open with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. May your will, not mine, be done. Today, I want to talk about how forgiving my father and making amends opened up the doors for healing. You know what I'm saying? My father just turned, I think, 66 the other day, and I'm proud of him, man. And he's in way better shape than me. I pray one day that I get to where he's at. He's a truly inspiration to me, and it just took me back. We talked the other day, and it took me back to where our relationship used to be at before, and how the Most High brought it together. And I had to do some forgiving, and I had to make amends. You know what I'm saying? And it was some of the toughest things I had to do, but some of the most rewarding. You know what I'm saying? My father didn't have a relationship until I got into my 40s. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't there, and we got past that. We talked about it, and I had to forgive him, and it was key because the forgiving part allowed me to open the door for the healing process. It allowed me to also be able to forgive other men that I go through things with and things of that nature. It forgiving and making amends taught me how to love even more. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have that burden over me. You know what I'm saying? Like holding me down. That resentment that I had towards him kept me in a place where I couldn't love other people or accept love, and I definitely couldn't forgive. You know what I'm saying? Other men, and you know what I mean. And I think that's is a blockage that a lot of brothers have in terms of holding grudges with other men, and it starts with the relationships with our fathers. You know what I mean? And how did I get to the process of forgiving them? Like I said, he wasn't in my life for many years for various reasons, and I remember when I was going through the tragedy, and I was in alcoholism, and I remember my grandma telling me I was real angry at him, and because I really felt that if I put the blame on him, that if he was a better father to me, I could have been a better husband, and none of that stuff would have happened. You know what I mean? I wasn't taking no accountability to myself. I was trying to shift the blame and put it on him, and I was in a sunken place. And I remember my grandma telling me that, yo, one day you and your father are going to be tight. And I thought she was crazy. Like, what are you talking about? And that's the mind of the alcoholic thinking like that. So she said, it ain't for you to know because you're not God, you're not Christ, and you can't, and only He knows, and He's going to make it happen. So what happened was when it was time for me to go testify at trial, nobody was in the crowd but my ex-wife and him, and that started our process because God made it where He had to be there. He had to listen to things that I went through. He had to listen to how His lack of being there affected my life. He had to listen to that. You know what I'm saying? And then right after that, I hit my bottom with alcoholism, and I went to rehab, and He was there with me through the whole process, and He was there for me for some other serious issues that came in my life, and so our relationship bonded. And so then I'm in rehab, and I'm doing my fourth step, and I look at my fourth step, and I see how my inventory, and I see how my behavior was. I really got to see who I was. So then I start thinking about it, like, yo, like, how can I not forgive him when his behavior doesn't even compare to my behavior that I had throughout my life? And if I want the Most High to forgive me, I gotta forgive him. You know what I mean? So then it came to a point where my sponsor was like, yo, I had my father on the top of my resentment list, and we went through the resentments, and my sponsor said, what did he do before, during, or after? What did you do before, during, or after to make the relationship worse? So I told him that I had told my father. I mean, my father tried to get in my life in my 30s, and I gave him a hard time. So I had to call my dad and apologize to him. Yeah, I had to apologize to the person who wasn't in my life all those years, and that was so humbling. You know what I mean? But it opened the door for me to be able to have better relationships. It opened the door for me to be able to forgive other men. It opened the door for me to be able to start the healing process from the pain and the anger that I had inside of me, man. You know what I mean? And I've other brothers that's out there that's dealing with, or even women out there too that's dealing with a bad relationship with your fathers, man. Try to figure out a way to try to mend that relationship, especially while they still here. You know what I mean? And even if your father passed away, write him a letter and leave it at his gravesite, and try to forgive him, because it's going to release all of that anger and resentment you have inside of you, and you're going to be able to forgive other men. You're going to be able to have better relationships. You're going to be able to start healing, man. You know what I mean? And now that's my guy. We talk to each other. We kick it. We laugh. We joke. He got me on this health journey, and so it turned out that, not being there most of my life, now he's helping me with some of the biggest decisions that I need to make in my life. So in due time, things happen. You know what I mean? The Most High wanted it that way, so I could be able to help other young men who didn't have their fathers, that have somebody to relate to, and he had his plan. You know what I mean? But forgiving my father, man, it was key. And making amends, it just opened up the healing process, and gave me a chance to really start healing, and really start being what God want me to be. This is Mike. Enjoy the rest of your day. Shalom.